David Cole, we're going to start with you as you come up, please. Truly appreciate everybody being here today. I want to tell you just a few little things there that I've recognized about David, and then I'll give him a chance to speak. We're going to hand out a few gifts. But over the many years, I went back through the detective division. I asked Dave one day, I said, well, what's going on in your life? He said, well, I'm doing some research and I'm writing a book. Well, what I'm getting at, have you seen that commercial on TV there about the most interesting man in the world? That's what Dave reminds me of, some of the things I'm going to tell you. Well, it wasn't long after that he came through. I said, Dave, what's going on? He said, well, I've been called to the ministry. He said, I'm going to start preaching. I got a church over in Bristol. Wasn't long after that, he come in, it was maybe a year ago? Yeah. I said, Dave, what's going on? He said, well, we're doing a mini-series for TV. We're doing down in Hawkins County. Yeah. So he's a star in a mini-series that's already aired on the TV once.
We aired it.
So yesterday I asked him, I said, Dave, what's going on? He said, well, I'm writing some screenplays there now for TV. And besides all this, David is probably one of the very best homicide investigators that we've ever had. He truly is. But there's some other things there that I truly appreciate about David Cole. David is a godly man, and he's got a heart as big as all outdoors. And anybody that's ever been around David for just a minute there, he'll keep you entertained there. And we're going to give out a few gifts, and then we're going to give David a chance to speak. David.
Just one little quick story about the first time that I ever met Dave. I know he don't remember this, but I'll never forget it. I grew up down in Carter's Valley, and I was probably 9 or 10 years old. And there was a store probably half a mile from where we lived, and my mom had sent me to the store one afternoon. It's the first time I'd ever been to the store, and she gave me a couple of dollars, and she needed I think it was a gallon of milk, maybe a loaf of bread or something. And so I said, yeah, I can do that. So I walked to the store, and when I walked in, Williams store down in Carter Valley, there was a pool table in there. And there was a guy in there, a little bit older than me, not much. He was shooting pool by himself, and we started talking, and he said, you ain't good, or do you play pool? And I said, well, no, not really. He said, I'm not either. So anyway, about 20 minutes later, I had to go home with no bread, no milk, and no money. But that was the first time I'd ever met Dave. I know he doesn't remember that, but
just luck.
I've had the honor to work alongside Dave for a long time, and he's truly probably one of the very best homicide detectives in this region, if not in the state. I know when I was lieutenant in CID probably 14, 15 years ago that when we actually had an actual whodunit and we had to figure out who the suspect was, who the bad guys were, I took comfort in the fact that I had Dave Cole back there working, because more often than not he was solving. And we certainly wish you the best, and appreciate your family and they're here, and so we've had him for a long time, and now you all can enjoy him.
What we got to hand him here?
We've
Let's see, Dave, I got one thing. We'll start with this if you want to. This has been a great tradition. I appreciate the city manager and board of mayor and alderman allowing this to happen. We always, when an officer retires, we always give him his handgun, and that's really appreciated. So there's for you, Dave.
I surprised Bob this morning. I'll give it to him. It's clean.
Okay. Okay, where's it at? Okay, here's an employee fund gift card to go along with it, Dave. And for the ones that have not had an opportunity, you see our shadow boxes over there. Great reminders there of our careers. It's just a nice memento that we can have, and you can look at Dave's there, and all of them are if you want to. Dave?
Be brief, I guess. When I used to see some of the other people retire, they always told me, you'll know when it's time to go. And that was true. When I got about 3 years from back, I knew that I was getting to the time when it was time for me to go. And, I'm just thankfully that I made it through, got my knees fixed, got, kind of a new outlook. Now all I got to do is just figure out what I'm going to be when I grow up. So I appreciate everybody. Gonna miss everybody. There's two sides to retiring. You look forward to it, and but then you hate it, and it's just like a family, and leaving your family, it's rough on you. But I'll be around, and I think I've got court cases through December, so I'll be back. So, thank you.
Bob Abernathy, come around, please. If I've ever seen in my lifetime a natural born leader, right here he stands. We could talk all day about Bob's leadership skills. Bob served as a watch commander, and he can take charge, and he will take charge of any situation, and he'll accomplish the mission. He's one of the best that I've ever seen. He's also our SWAT commander. And if you ever want to go through a door and the bad guy's on the other side, and you want somebody to go with you, it doesn't get any better than Bob Abernathy. It's just that simple. Bob's also been a training officer. Every piece of wisdom that he's ever acquired in his lifetime, he continually gives back on a daily basis. And if anybody ever exemplifies and instill the ethics of professionalism in our police organization, it's Bob Abernathy. But now that's the good things. Everybody knows that about Bob. Let me tell you some of the things he's not good at. Bob and I, we've studied martial arts together for many years. At best, he may be a second or third rate street fighter. He really don't have any power, especially in his left hook. And he's clumsy. A few years ago, we were down at Cherokee Lake. We were bass fishing. Well, we decided to pull a boat under a bridge there. The boat was off. The water was just like glass. And he stumbled, fell plumb out of the boat. Well, he can't swim, so he's just dog paddling about around the boat there like that. Well, I couldn't help him. I was eating a chicken leg, and laughing at Bob.
Just one.
But we're an accredited organization. We're known worldwide for our standards. And you'd think that a SWAT commander and a range officer at a very minimum would know a little something about guns. It's not the case. And it's a rare occasion that they can even qualify on the range there with the guns that we carry. But truly, that aside, Bob's one of the best friends that I've ever had. And I love him, and he knows it. And I appreciate what he's given to this organization. It's yours, old buddy.
Do I get to talk now? I'm only going to talk for a minute and stuff because I am known for talking and stuff. But now it seems to me like one time fishing, we were in a canoe coming down the North Fork of the Holston River. And the water, I was in the back because I had to do all the work, steering and all that. And he was riding up front doing nothing but eating chicken. And I remember going through a little bit of rapids and stuff, and the canoe got a little squirrely and stuff on us. And when I look up from doing the job of paddling and trying to control the canoe and stuff, I see him, and he's got a chicken leg, well, actually, the box of chicken, holding it up with one hand, and his left foot stuck up in the air over his head because he had his pistol in his ankle holster on that leg and stuff. So I saved us that day. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. I started in 1983 as an auxiliary and finished up today. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a long road, and absolutely I've had a blast. And I look at it, particularly over in here, a lot of you guys, Butch and Mac and Jim and Bones and Rick and McDavid and stuff. And, you know, I've come to a whole bunch of these things and watched these guys do what I'm doing right now. And it's an honor to be around them and, you know, finally get to take my place in it. I thank you for having me for so long, putting up with me and dealing with me and helping me and teaching me and making me a better person. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. I don't know if you ought to give me a gun. I'm pretty dangerous with them.
That's what I've heard.
Peggy.
I understand Bones is in the house. Where is he at? Oh my goodness. Where in the world have you been? I'll say.
Peggy, we were talking yesterday in the 911 board meeting, and Chief Kiesling, he mentioned this, but when Peggy came to work here, Central Dispatch was in the basement of the Civic Auditorium. And I don't know if some of you remember that, and probably not a lot of you know that, but that's where you first started 31 years ago. And Peggy has, one word comes to mind when I think about Peggy, and that's professionalism. She has always taken this job very seriously and been a true professional. And the last several years, she's served very well as a supervisor. And we've got a plaque in grateful recognition of Supervisory Communications Specialist Peggy Turner for 31 years of dedicated service to the City of Kingsport and the Kingsport Police Department. This is well deserved. 31 years is a long time, but I know you've got some plans.
Oh yes.
Like, if you've, I know you're going to concentrate on your music and your music ministry, and if you've never heard this lady sing, you need to go down to Kenneth Calvert's church one Sunday morning, and I promise you'll
Or St. Mark.
you'll enjoy it. But I've heard her several times, and she can sing. Beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And we wish you a long, happy, healthy retirement. You've got a card there from the employee fund, so if you want to say a few words.
Thank you all so much. It has been a blessing. It's been a rough ride, let me tell you. But it's been a wonderful ride, let me tell you that. When I first walked into the Kingsport Police Department, which was, like you said, in the basement of the Civic Auditorium, I thought to myself, what in the world have I got myself into? I saw this big machine called a 241 Tilex. Remember that? It was our teletype machine. It was the noisiest machine I've ever heard in a center. And I'll never forget this one time, rest his soul, Maggie, who owned the dog Maggie, Barney Hancock. I reached back to get these, they used to do these church checks. I reached back to get one of the clipboards to check off the church that he was checking that particular night. And I just knew Maggie had my hand, because he just growled at me, and here I am, carrying Child. I thought me and Child both were gone. But I've come a long way in this job, as my former chief said to me yesterday. He said, "You come a long way, baby." And I said, how true that is. I've come a long way in this job. I see a lot of you I've taken care of out on the road when you was out there, and it was a pleasure to do so. I have really, really enjoyed working here at Kingsport Police Department. I appreciate the opportunity. that was given to me. And I wish everyone in this department well when I leave. I want everybody to just remember me as someone who is always a lot of fun, but got the job done. Because the job came first. And whatever differences that you had with anyone you're working with, you lay them aside and you do the job because the job had to be done. And that's how I train my folk in dispatch when I train them. You lay all your jokes aside, you do what has to be done because everybody is important. Whoever calls into that workplace, whoever calls on the phone on 911, whatever call you get is a very important call. So you take it very important. So I want to say to you all, it's not my last day here, so don't get confused. So those of you who want to poke fun at me, I've got time to get even. And those of you who know me, know I don't play fair. So, but again, I thank everybody for being here today. I appreciate the opportunity given to me. I take it very serious in what you say to me about what I've accomplished in this job, because I have taken this job very serious. And I thank Sue Bowman for giving me that opportunity too. Be able to work at Kingsport Police Department, because if it wasn't for her leaving Kingsport Police Department, I wouldn't have had that position. Yes, just dispatch. Because she then went out on the road and became a police officer. And then she come back into dispatch. And we loved her even more because Sue had retired, and we had people leaving us left and right, and she stayed, even thereafter she had retired, to fill in and help us out. So I really did appreciate you and love you, girl. Thank you all.
All right. First time I ever met Gail Osborne, I took the police test out at the Civic Auditorium, and I guess this was early to mid-'80s. And I never will forget, I went in and there was an interview panel there, and I think Ted Cole might have been there and Paul Bowman might have been sitting there, and on the left-hand side, I'll never forget, it was the biggest, meanest looking cop that I'd ever seen in my life. And his sole job for the 30-minute interview was to stare a hole through me. He didn't ask me one question, and I've never forgotten that, but not too long after that, I came to work here, and I've worked alongside Gail and for him for almost 30 years now, and always appreciated his wisdom and his knowledge that he passed on to all the younger troops. Soon after I came to work here and learned a little bit more about Gail, and I learned that he had took a real interest in street survival and defensive tactics for police officers. It was very important for him that at the end of the day that we all go home. And so he opened up his house, his garage on Union Street, and offered to share that knowledge with those of us who wanted to learn. And on more than one occasion, I left over there with a black eye or a bloody nose. But always appreciative of that and of what we all learned from you. And throughout his career, two things have been important to him, and that's faith and family. And I've always respected that, and you walk the walk. And we appreciate your leadership for the past 6 years and your friendship, and we certainly wish you all the best. And,
well, I appreciate everybody coming today, and I truly want to thank everybody. But first and foremost, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, who's given me the opportunities there to be a part of this Kingsport Police Department. I truly love Kingsport and Kingsport Police Department. There's so many people that I'd like to thank. Our community, the support, all the churches, all the people that pray for us on a regular basis. all the different agencies. Chief Wade's here today, Bristol, Johnson City, Hawkins County, we work with them all. There's no way that we couldn't make it unless we pull together as a team, and I truly want to thank everyone. Also, I want to thank all the police officers that have ever served on a daily basis that put their life in harm's way. They're out here right now protecting you and I. That's enormous. Also, I think about going into the future. I was wanting to just mention a few names and think about the success of the future. And there's about 3 or 4 that I want to just mention right off the bat. Deputy Chief Quillen, who's in charge of operations. He takes care of everything. Deputy Chief Dale Phipps, standing right here. Show them who you are, Dale. You could literally flip a coin right this minute and pick either one of these men as the next chief of police, and you couldn't find a better police chief anywhere in this country. It's that simple. They're that good. Jason Bellamy, standing right beside of him. He's captain of operations. Jenny Castle. Where you at, Jenny? You back there eating again. Jenny's over administration. You just wouldn't believe the team. They truly run this police department. And they're amazing, and I really appreciate what y'all do on a daily basis. And there again, you don't only talk the talk, you walk the walk, and I'm thankful for that. In closing, I just want to tell a little thing that I told some of them yesterday. I had a dream yesterday morning. And you know how sometimes that you'll have a dream and you just get 3 or 4 or 5 seconds of it, and then it closes off. Well, this is what happened. I was sitting in a vehicle, and Paul Bowman was sitting right beside of me. Bob Abernathy was sitting on this side. David Cole was sitting on this side. Now you can imagine how big this vehicle was because we were all in the front seat. I don't know what kind it was, but we were all in the front seat. Anyway, just as plain as day, I could see we were all looking forward, but that car gradually started backing up. And just as clear as a bell, I could hear the song, Precious Memories. Oh, how they linger. Then I woke up. Well, you know, you want to try to self-analyze those, but those 3 or 4 seconds of that dream, that's kind of like my career. I've been here 33 years. That's how fast my career has passed. I mean, it's just that quick. But I tell you, when I leave here today, I've got precious memories. And oh, how they linger. And I pray that God will continue to bless the Kingsport Police Department, this city, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, our entire community. We've got a great city, and I'm looking forward for positive things in the future. And I pray that God will bless each and every one of you here today. Thank you so much.
I'm going to have Mr. Campbell, I think he probably wants to say a couple words, and he's got some presentations as well.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here, and particularly want to thank people like Chief Blaine Wade coming from Bristol. Appreciate you being here, former Chief Kiesling. Also, Mayor Phillips and Alderman McIntyre and Shoup. I don't know if there's any other aldermen out there, and appreciate all you being here today, but it's a great pleasure to be able to work with these fine gentlemen and ladies, you know, some of which I haven't known that long, but I think they're all a great credit to the Kingsport Police Department and the great work that's been done. And one of our great traditions we've started, thanks to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen here in the last 5 or 6 years, is to award each one of them a commemorative watch with their name on it, with the city's logo on it, so that hopefully they'll wear it with pride for many years to come. And Chief, as the leader of the department for the last 6 years, let me say how much I appreciate all the work you've done. You know, within the first year I was here, I was faced with a retiring police chief, and of course we had a tremendous process of looking at some great applicants, but Chief Osborne was the one that was promoted out of that group, and appreciate your leadership, courage through some tough times and all, and everything you've done for the department.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. First one is Chief Osborne. We also have a nice proclamation or certificate of appreciation for each person in the department. David? Thank you. Wear this with pride. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Bob? I forgot to ask my wife for some of the childhood stories on you.
That's good. That's gonna-
Also, Peggy. Anything else? I think everybody enjoy the reception, and thanks to Terry and everybody else that put on the reception. We appreciate that very much.